Let's quickly go over some added functionality to the countdown page. I'm going to hit refresh and you're going to see how the audio player plays an MP3 file and the video player beneath it starts a video all over again.
Ding, 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 ding. Time's up.
So this was 2 seconds long and this one is counting. It's just going to keep on running until the video's over. Currently, the birthday countdown is still showing 205 days, 4 hours, 57 minutes, and 17 seconds and counting. FWB Day is 209 days, 4 hours, 57 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Christmas is 213 days, 4 hours, 57 minutes, 6 seconds and counting. And the tester has 0 days, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. And it also has the later message of time's up. So the reason that is because I set the video to record after the timer went off. So we have to go over the code and fix that so you can see it in action. Let's minimize this. Let's go into the events countdown folder. Let's right click event countdown.html and edit with Notepad++ so you can look at that code. Inside of box, we've got a couple of ICO files. We've got 4 different MP3 files. We have a single MP4 video file. We have 4 JavaScript files, 1 CSS file. Let's right click the style CSS and edit that with Notepad. And let's just look at one of the JS files because all the rest of the JavaScript files are basically a copy and paste with only a few things changed. So let's hit edit Notepad of that. So we've got 3 different files we're going to look at right about now. Let me close out of this. Let's look at the style first because that'll be the quickest thing to go through. So for the body in the curly braces, we've got 2 different things styled. For class timebox, which is represented by .timebox, each one of these rectangles that say days, 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 hours, 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 minutes, 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 seconds, 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 all of those will get the class equals timebox. So they will all share these styles. They get a border, a margin, a padding, a minimum width, and a text align with their own special settings. Then, after that, we have 4 special places for a message. The message for this one says before my B-Day. This one says before his B-Day. This one says before Xmas. And this one says time's up because we already hit the timer before this video started. So the names of those special elements, they're IDs, not classes. So they're prefaced with the pound symbol. Pound Xmas special day box, comma, pound LW special day box, comma, pound FW special day box, comma, and pound tester special day box. So inside of the curly braces for those 4 elements, we have these styles: width, font size, color, margin, border, radius, border, padding, background color, and text align set. All of those. Then let's look at the field set. The field set is each column really, because the field set looks like a column based on the size of everything that we put inside of it. Looks like we're dealing with 4 columns. Well, each field set has a legend that is a caption. Then we have these divs, 5 divs. Then we have an audio tag and a video tag. All of that's inside the field set. We have 4 field sets. Here's the legend of the second field set. Here's the legend of the third field set. Here's the legend of the fourth field set. So all of those field sets share these styles. They have a width, a float, a padding, a margin, and a text align. Now, I told you that each field set has a caption called a legend, and each one of those legends have a color, a font size, and a font family setting for each legend. Now, font family you may not recognize Arn Prior Regular. Well, what happens is each device, whether it's your cell phone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop, there's going to be certain fonts on your system. And browsers also recognize certain fonts. They're called font families. Well, I wanted to find an unusual font family, one that I hadn't heard of, and maybe it was a little bold. So what you do on your system, at least on my laptop here, I go to my little start button here, and then in the search bar I just type in font, and then up here in control panel I look up the fonts folder and I click on it, and I get all of these interesting looking fonts. It says preview, delete, or show and hide fonts installed on your computer. Well, I wound up finding this Arn Prior Regular. I thought, oh, that's nice, bold, interesting looking font. I'll go with that. You could go with a cursive type, just whatever suits your fancy at the time. This is kind of neat, Earwig Factory Regular. Earwig Factory Regular. Let me add a secondary font. So with a comma and another set of single quotes, I'm going to write that down. Earwig space, factory space, regular. Now, I have two strange fonts that may or may not be on your machine, but if they are, I want to use them. Well, how this works is the first one that it finds that your machine recognizes is the one it's going to probably use. Let me get out of this. I am going to click on refresh,
Ding, 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 ding.
and
Time's up.
to be honest, this doesn't look like either of the fonts that I chose. Well, this is Firefox, and quite possibly Firefox could care less about Arn Prior Regular or Earwig Factory Regular, and maybe it's not recognizing those. But out of curiosity, let me highlight the eventcountdown.html in Notepad++, and now that this tab is lit up, it's the one that is active. Go to Run, and let's try launching it in Chrome and see what happens. Well, as you can see, the legends are different. This looks more like my Arn Prior Regular. Now, since it grabbed the first one, let me misspell Arn Prior Regular and see if it recognizes the Earwig Factory Regular. Let's see what Chrome does. And it actually does, but it's very small, so I have to really open this up. It's really small. It's too small for me to be happy with. So what I could do, if I liked that design, is for the legend I can increase my font size to 45. Save it here and then refresh here.
Ding, 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 ding. Time's up.
Well, I refreshed the Firefox instead of the Chrome. That kind of messes my whole page up a little bit. I would have to have like a minimum, so that right here I would have to have like everything enclosed in a div and then give that div a minimum width. So we would keep everything lined up nice, because as you can see, that doesn't look lined up nice. Only that looks lined up nice. So unless I was going to force the page to not be dynamic and have a liquid layout with the percentages and stretchability, maybe I don't want to keep this font. Maybe I think I should go back to my Arn Prior Regular. And even that is too much when the font's that big, so I probably should go back to my font size being, let's see what 35 does. That might be too big. And it doesn't look bad, but when I want to do it side by side, I think I should go back to my 25 pixels. That looks, I guess, a little bit better. I don't really like how this looks. As you can see, we see the control for the video coming right over top of the blue outline. I'm not loving that, so I believe what I would have to do for this instance is make the padding for my video tag bigger. So let me go down to the video and let's make that padding from a 7 to a 10, and see if that looks better. Well, unfortunately, you could still see that a bit. Maybe I want to change my border radius from 50 to 30 and make it less rounded, still rounded but not as bad. That way we don't see those points jutting through the blue border. And if I'm going to do that, do I want to do the same thing to the video as well? Well, I guess it did change it because this is for the audio and video tag. Well, for the audio and video tag, they share width, border radius, border padding, and margin. If you want to have the audio and video tag have different styles, you would not put them together like this before the curly braces. I think I skipped some stuff. I did, because I was basically talking about the different font families for the legend. Let's talk about what if by the time you get, actually I could just get out of here and go back to my Firefox for now. If I see another problem. It looks like my audio and video is bleeding right out of the field sets. That's not good. How can I fix that? Instead of giving it 80% width, maybe I should give it 75% width or 76.
Ding, 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 ding. Time's up.
That's a little bit better. At least when it's small like this. That way it's not bleeding out of the field set like it was. Okay, so we changed the audio and video width. But what I wanted to talk about was, let's say you get this page done and you really only want to see the days. You don't really care about the hours, minutes, and seconds. You've tested your program. You know the code works. You just only care about the days, not all this other junk. So all the other junk that we may not want to see, we target them by using their IDs. So we have the div with the ID LW hours, and the div with the ID LW mins, and the div with the ID LW secs. So we're talking about hours, minutes, and seconds. We also do the same thing for the FW hours, mins, and seconds, Christmas hours, minutes, and seconds, tester hours, minutes, and seconds. And we use the names that we actually gave them. So all of these different elements divided by commas, separated by commas, will share whatever we want to make them share. In this case, we can make the visibility hidden for all of them, and let me show you what that would look like by spelling it correctly. Visibility set to hidden, and then
Ding, 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 ding.
as you can see now, we only see the days. They're hidden, but there's still space there for them, so nothing else is moved up. There are times that that's how you will want it to function. There are other times where you will want the display to be set to none. And when that happens, not only do you not see them, but there's not even the space for them either. Everything gets all tidied up and moves up where they would have been. That's what display none does. But I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to keep everything visible by misspelling visibility and misspelling display, but yet keeping the code there for future reference. Alright, I already showed you the audio and video, and there's nothing left to show you as far as the style goes. So I'm going to close out of the style.css, and let's look at the page itself, the code for the page itself. Event countdown.html. There's a doc type declaration. There's our opening HTML tag. There's our opening and closing title tag with the holiday countdown showing here in the browser tab. And then our opening head tag, followed by this snip right here, which is going to link to that little icon that we have, that little star icon. So there's the link for that. I'm not going to read it all. You can pause if you need to pause this and type this in your code. It'd be nicer for me to not have to read it all. Here's another link This is going to link us to our external CSS style sheet. Here is another link. This is going to link us to one of the external JavaScripts, the xmas.js. Here's another that's going to link us to the lwbday.js. Here's another one that's going to link to the fwbday.js. And here's our last pointer that's going to connect us to the testerday.js, which we're actually going to look at here shortly. So those are all those links, and here's the ending head tag. So I can go up here and I could just close the head tags and tidy up our code as I'm making this video. Here is the beginning of our body tag. Our body has an onload event that points to all of these functions. All of these functions are inside double quotes. LW birthday, FW birthday, Xmas, and tester day. These are all functions. They all have empty parentheses and they all stop with a semicolon at the end, and they all are inside of these double quotes. And that's all the opening. This is all the opening body tag. After that, we have a field set for my birthday, a field set for his birthday, a field set for Christmas, and a field set for tester day. And so each of these field sets are going to be copy and paste, redundant code. Let's open up the my birthday field set. There's the opening field set tag. And all the way down here is the closing field set tag. So the field set goes down to line 39. Opening field set tag followed by the legend, open and closing, kind of like the title. It's very simple, opening legend, closing legend, and the words in between are what shows right here. Then after the legend, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divs. Here's the first one. It has an ID of LW days and a class of time box, and then we have the ending div tag, and that is going to represent this element right here. The next div that has the ID set to LW hours and the class of time box is going to represent this div. Then we have div ID equals LW mins, class equals time box, ending div tag. That's going to represent this element. And then we've got div ID equals LW sex, class equals time box, ending div tag. That represents the element that's going to tell us how many seconds are left. And then lastly we have div ID equals LW special day box, class equals time box, ending div. And that gives us this div with a special note, a note before the timer goes off, and then it'll change to a different note after the timer goes off. So after all those divs, we have our audio tag. Audio, is we have an ID of 4. We are using the word controls so that you see the control right here. And then inside of that we have a source. Source src equals, and we're going to point to the MP3 that we want this audio to play. So inside the folder called box we have happyBDayLisa.mp3. That is the MP3 file. Type equals audio/mpeg. If you're dealing with an ancient browser that doesn't deal with audio or video tags, you'll have this little message that shows up on their browser that says your browser doesn't support audio. Then you close that up with your closing audio tag. The video tag is really similar. So here's our opening video tag right here. Video ID equals my video 4, and I have misspelled audio, autoplay, controls, and loop because I didn't want to use that. But those are things you can use. If you want this video to autoplay, it won't wait for the timer to go off. As soon as your page loads, this video is going to play. So you definitely don't want to use that. Controls, as you can see here, when you hover over this, which has already played once, you see the controls cover up the video. Before these are ready to go off, I don't want you to hover over them and play them. I want it to be forced to wait until the timer goes off to play. So I have it Z'd out. And then I have loop. If you want the video to just keep playing and playing and playing, let's just say it's a video that's only a couple of seconds long and you want it to look like a constant animation, then you would go ahead and use loop. But at this point, I've Z'd out autoplay controls and loop, but I just wanted to let you know, remind you what you could use in your opening video tag. Now here is the source. This is what this video is going to open. Source src equals, inside of the folder called box, we have July 2017 tennis.mp4. That's our video file. Type equals video/mp4. Now you can use an OGG file to do video just as well, and if you do, then this code would come in handy. Source src equals box/July 2017 tennis.ogg. Type equals video/ogg. And again, if you're using some really awful old browser that doesn't care about audio or video tags and doesn't render them for you, then you have to use a little note to let the user know your browser does not support HTML5 video. So that might make your user want to get an updated browser. Ending video tag, ending field set. So I've went over everything in this first field set. All the rest of the field sets are copy and paste, so I really don't need to read them all. All you need to do is change the names. So what I mean is, you still have the field set tag, you still have the legend tag, but in the first ID here, you want to make sure you change this ID to something unique to this particular field set of elements. So in this case, we have FW days, and then we have FW hours, FW mins, FW sex, FW special day box. The audio has to have its own ID. This one is 3, this one was 4, this one was 3. The source is going to point to a different MP3 file, and your video is going to get its own ID. In this case, it's my video 3, and the source is pointing to, in this case, the same MP4 video. I'm not using OGG. This was just showing you an example if you wanted to use OGG files. And so that was the same thing with just a few. An Xmas, you want to make sure the IDs for these divs represent Xmas. And the ID for the audio players has to be different. The ID for the video player has to be different. What you're pointing to as far as the MP3 is different. Unfortunately, I only am looking at the same video over and over again down here at the bottom. That needs to change. So that's everything for the Christmas field set. The only thing we have left is the tester. Field set, legend tester, div, ID tester days. The next div has the ID tester hours, tester mins, tester sex, tester special day box. They all have class time box. The audio here, I gave the ID of 1. It's pointing to the MP3 called Time's Up. My video player here has a new ID, my video 1. It's still pointing to that same MP4 file. And that's the last field set, the ending body tag, the ending HTML. So you've seen everything in the event countdown.html. So I really don't need to go over any more of that stuff. So let's look at one of the external JavaScript, the one that deals with this particular column right here, field set right here called tester. So testerday.js. Function testerday, empty parentheses, opening curly brace. The first statement is this one. Var x equals document.getElementById, parentheses, double quotes, 1. So for this audio player right here, for the tester, we are going to set it to this variable called x. We're going to do the same thing to the video player below it. Document.getElementById, parentheses, double quotes, my video 1. We're going to set that to a variable called y. So when we talk about x doing something like xplay, we're going to play the MP3 file. When we have y.play, we're going to play the video. The next important statement is var timer equals set timeout, parentheses and quotes, testerday, comma 1000. So for every 1 second, we are going to call this function over and over and over again. And that's why you see 7 seconds, 6, 5, 4, 3, because each one of these is calling a function, and that function gets called every second, which changes the value of what goes on in here, which inadvertently changes the value when it gets to a certain level to here, which inadvertently changes the value of this, and then ultimately changes the value of this. So you see they all kind of spin off on each other. Okay, this is basically creating the alarm. Var tester equals new date, parentheses, double quotes, May 25th, comma, 2018, 1955:00. That's changing when my tester alarm goes off. Right now it's 8:27. The 5/25/2018 stays the same, but 8:27 in military time is 12 plus 8 is 20:27. So we would change this to 20, and instead of 27, let's make it 37. Save this, refresh this, and in 8 minutes and 45 seconds, this alarm will go off. This message will not say before alarm. You will hear something play here, and then you will see this video play as well. So when it gets close to this timer going off, I will open this larger so that you can see the video and audio and message change a little more clearly. But while that's doing that, let's finish up with this testerday.javascript file and see if I can get all the way to the end in less than 8 minutes. The next statement, var before tester equals the string before alarm. So we're creating a string and we're setting it to this variable called before tester, and right here you're actually seeing that string that says before alarm right there. Then we create another variable called after tester, and we set that to the string time's up, and that's what this is going to change. It's going to change from before alarm to time's up in that message area. Now we have to determine the amount of time between now and the target date and time. With that, we have this statement, var now equals new date, nothing in the parentheses, and a semicolon. And then we use this statement, var time diff equals tester.getTime minus now.getTime. So it's figuring out how much time is between right now and whatever value I gave the alarm for tester. And that's going to go into time diff. Let's do an if condition. If time diff is less than or equal to 0, that means this countdown has went from 7 minutes to seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Once it reaches 0 or is less, in that instance, everything in these curly braces will execute, and that's all this stuff. If it's true, when it's true. It's not true right now. What's true right now is since this is not true right now, it means it's false. So we're going down to the else condition and we're doing this. This right here is what's running right this second. Document.getElementById by parentheses quotes tester special day box. That's this thing right here. .innerHTML equals before tester. The value of before tester was set to the words before alarm. Now, when the countdown becomes 0, this in the parentheses, this condition will be true. When this is true, then all of this stuff is going to happen from here to here. So let's read it. Time diff equals 0, clear timeout, parentheses timer, document.getElementById, parentheses, quotes, tester special day box, .innerHTML equals after tester. The value of after tester was time's up. Then we have x.play, which means our MP3 player is going to play, and y.play, which means our video player is going to play. So basically I showed you the if-else condition. Now let's set some expressions to some variables. The first one being var seconds equals math.floor, parentheses time diff divided by 1,000. The next one is var minutes equals math.floor, parentheses seconds divided by 60, var hours equals math.floor, parentheses minutes divided by 60, and lastly var days equals math.floor, parentheses hours divided by 24. So what this does in this first one is it takes the value of time def, it divides it by 1,000, and whatever that math problem is, it's probably going to have a decimal point. So math.floor is going to round down. It's going to truncate whatever the decimal point, whatever's on the right hand side of a decimal point, it's going to knock it off. And so that value, that number with no decimal, is going to go into seconds. That's how you get this. 28, 27, 26. There is no point, nothing there. It's important for us because we don't want to see a bunch of decimal point values. We do the same thing with minutes. We take the math problem, whatever the value of seconds is, divided by 60. It's going to be a decimal value, so we're going to use math.floor to get rid of the decimal, and then that's going to go into the variable called minutes. And we do the same thing for hours. Whatever, wait, am I reading this wrong? Time diff divided by 1,000 gives us seconds. Seconds divided by 60 gives us minutes. Minutes divided by 60 gives us hours. And hours divided by 24 gives us days. Okay, so my code is right. I got confused in how I was reading it back. All right, now we have gotten values for seconds, minutes, hours, and days. But now we want to grab only the remainders using modulus. So the value of hours divided by 24, whatever the value of hours is divided by 24, whatever the remainder of that division problem is, that will go into our new value for hours now. So we have hours, modulus equals 24. We do the same thing with minutes. Whatever value we have for minutes divided by 60, when we do that problem, whatever we get as a remainder, that will be the new value for the variable called minutes. Same thing with seconds. Seconds, whatever that value is divided by 60, whatever the remainder that is, will now go into seconds. So seconds modulus equals 60 does that. Finally, and we're getting close, we only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds before this is going to go off, we want to output the variables values to the page. Here's the first chunk that will do that. Document element by ID, parentheses, and double quotes, tester days.enter HTML equals whatever the value of days is, plus the string, space, days, ... So in this case, we have 0 days, ... Then for the next one, which is this one, document element by ID, parentheses, double quotes, tester hours, .enter HTML equals the value of hours, plus a space and the word hours, ... We have 0 hours as well. Then for the minutes one, we have this. Document element by ID, parentheses, double quotes, tester mins, .enter HTML equals value of minutes plus a space, minutes, ... And that's where you get this. Then finally, we have document element by ID, parentheses, double quotes, tester sex, .enter HTML equals seconds, the value of seconds, plus the string, a space, the word seconds, ... That's where you get the 23, a space, seconds, ... in that one. That ends our function. There's nothing left. These are commented out in case you wanted to create buttons and have a button play and another button pause, but we're not using that. So I have finished everything in the testerday.js. You can copy and paste, copy, follow along with the video, do this code, copy and paste it for your Xmas, this particular B-day, that particular B-day, or whatever particular day that you want to do a countdown to, and then you can have your own message, audio, and video pop off when the timer is finished. So now you're going to see, let me open this up. We have 36 seconds left before you will see and hear all of that. 30, 29. Maybe I should turn the speakers up a little. Might be really loud. And once this finishes, this will be the end of the video because I'm not going to read all the other JavaScript. Like I said, that's basically copy and paste, change names of IDs and change names of videos and audio files.
Ding, 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 ding. Time's up.
Okay, good. You've seen that the message changed to time's up. You heard the MP3. It was only 2 seconds long. Ding, 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 time's up. And I was a little worried about the video because I couldn't see any changes for a couple of seconds, but you can now see the video actively moving. And if we move our cursor over top of the video, you can actually see the seconds moving as well. Alright, so thank you for watching the video. I hope this makes things a little more interesting for you, and have a great day.